I will be discussing about the operator overloading. And before that, as we have discussed previously, there is a element of object-oriented programming called as polymorphism. Okay, what is the purpose of this polymorphism? Polymorphism means same thing when applied in different situations, it will execute differently. Okay, so in this case, this plus operator, if I am applying it to two integers, it will produce a result as 14. Okay, if this plus operator, if I am giving to str the one string and another string, two string operands, it will produce a bigger string with the concatenated thing. Okay, if the plus operator I have used for adding two polygons, and here also I have used it for adding two polygons, that triangles, to produce this thing. Okay, polymorphism, and operator overloading is another type of polymorphism. Okay, so this if you are asked about the what are the different types of polymorphism and explain it, and then you have to give the definition of the polymorphism, and you have to explain the function overloading and operator overloading with the examples, with the explanation also. Okay, so in this case, this is very important one. In every university exam, this is asked. This the question from this topic is asked. This operator overloading is asked. So please understand it properly. Okay, so operator overloading is the ability. This is the definition for operator overloading. Okay, it's the ability to tell the compiler how to perform a certain operation with its corresponding operators used on one or more variables. Means what? Whenever the operator is used, operators, just we have seen earlier that plus operator is used on the operands of integers, it will produce an integer output. If it is applied to string, it will produce what? Another string, like that. Okay, and this operator overloading is closely related to this function overloading. In function overloading, we are using what? Same name, but here the operator overloading is using the same operator for doing different things. Okay, and it allows full integration of new class type into the programming environment. Let's say I have created the class complex, and if you want to add two complex numbers, what we will do? We have to create a member function or a friend function which does the thing. Okay, so and how we will call it? Just like a normal function call. But if we are doing this operator overloading, what we can do is just like 2 plus 3, 5 plus 4, like that, we can give the plus operator to what? These classes also. Okay, that we have defined. Okay, now we can this operator overloading is achieved by creating a operator function, and this operator function defines the operations that the operator overload which is overloaded can perform relative to the class. Okay, this operator function is used for doing that operator overloading. Okay, this operator function defines the operations that the overloaded operator can perform relative to the class. Okay, this is whenever we are using a user defined class only, we are using this operator function. Okay, and this operator function is created using the keyword operator. Okay, if we want to create an operator overloading function or operator function, what we have to use? We have to use the keyword operator. This operator members or operator functions, it can be either a member of that class or a non-member of a class. If it is a non-member, it must be a friend to that class. Okay, it must be a friend function to the class. So operator overloading can be done using a member of the class or a non-member of the class. Okay, so if you are using a non-member, what we have to do, we have to make it as a friend function of that class. So these are the overloadable operators: plus, minus, unary minus, binary minus, multiplication, division, equals, etc. All those things that is defined here can be overloaded. That less than symbols, insertion operator, extraction operator, all those things can be overloaded. So how we will create an operator function? Okay, how we will create it? We will create the operator function with the operator keyword. Okay, here you can see the operator keyword. Along with this will be your operator. Okay, whichever operator you want to overload, you have to make this operator and this thing. Okay, if we are defining it within the class, you can just type what like this. Okay, and you can establish, or we can enter the definition there. Or if you want to do it, if you want to define it outside the class, what you have to do is class name and double colon, as we have discussed before. Okay, so let's see one example here. Let's say comp is our complex number. Okay, so I am defining it outside the comp class. Okay, so what is the function name here? I have used the operator and the operator to be overloaded. So comp is our return type, operator plus is our function name, comp op2 is our argument. Okay, and we are doing the operator overloading. Before this, let me introduce one example here. This we have already done in our earlier session. Okay, I hope you remember this function add and mecom, which is a friend. This add and mecom. Okay, this mecom is doing what? The minus of that complex number, and the addition is whatever adding of two complex numbers. Okay, and I have mentioned this add and mecom to this complex class. Okay, so how I have used it and all we have already seen. Now what we will do is we have to create a friend function, and we have to make it as an operator overloading function. What is this? What I am saying is we have to we can call, if we can call the function, that friend function, like this: c1 plus c2 minus c1. Like this, if we want to call, we have to make the function name as, okay, mecomp, I am changing it into operator minus, okay, and add, I am changing it into operator plus, because here this operator plus is the binary operator which operates on two complex number and produces a complex number. Okay, so how I will call this operator plus here? Like this: c1 plus c2. If I am doing like this, what will happen? It will invoke this function operator plus. Okay, like the same as before. That's this add, I have done it now. Okay, just like the same thing, we have added those things. Okay, and we have produced the output, returned sum. The sum will be returned and we assign to sum. Okay, so just like the before thing, we will get the output here. Okay, here let's say c1 is of what? c1 is of 2 plus i3, and I want to add with 4 plus I4. Okay, what is the result here? What is the result here? We will get what? 6 plus 7. 6 plus I7. Isn't it? Okay. So here the sum will contain the values, the real value as 6 and imaginary value as 7. So it will display just like 6 plus I7. Okay, and here it's doing what? It is just like calling the function mecomb here. Okay, mecomb C1. Okay, here what I have done, C1 minus C1. So what it is doing? It will accept the C1 as the argument. Okay, and it will make what? It will create another complex object which has got the negative of this system. Okay, so I have passed the C1 here. So what will be the output? Minus 2 plus I minus 3. Okay, so whenever I am getting this, this my dot display will produce minus 2 plus I minus 3. Okay, so let me show you this thing. This one, the same thing, C1 plus C2 is just like I am calling the function operator plus with argument C1 comma C2. This you must understand. Okay, the C1 plus C2, C1 plus C2 is equivalent to what? Operator plus C1 comma C2. And here you can see minus C1 is equivalent to what? Operator minus of C1. Okay, this minus C1 is nothing but it is a function called with the argument, function called to the operator minus with an argument C1. Okay, it is equal. Okay, so what will happen here? If this is using a friend function, if you are implementing a binary operator. Okay, if a binary operator means what? It has got two operands. Okay, binary operator, and if you are implementing what? Binary operator with the friend function, how many arguments it will have? 2. Okay, and if you are implementing it using a friend function, okay, friend function, and it is a unary operator, then how many arguments we will have? This 1. Okay, I hope you understood this thing. Okay, now we will get the output as the thing, this 6 plus I7 as well as the minus 2 plus I minus 3 as the output. Okay, now let us do the same thing, that operator overloading using a member function. Here we have seen a friend function doing the thing what? Addition of two complex numbers and minus of a complex number. Okay, now let's do the same thing using a member function. So you must understand that this thing, whatever we are going to do, all those functions are inside one class or inside one object. Okay, those functions will be inside one class as well as it will be inside one object. Okay, so here also what we have created, C1 is equal to what? 2 plus I3, and C2 is created as 4 plus I4. Okay, and what will happen here? C1. Okay, I am going to call this add function. Okay, C1 dot add of C2. What will happen here? C1, it is calling the function which is present inside C1. Okay, and is calling the function, and C2 is given as the argument to it. Okay, so C is equal to C2. Okay, so how it will be executing this? Okay, it is going to add C1 with the C2. Okay, so how it will execute it? We know that this add function is inside the C1, so we can access what the private part of this C1. Okay, so the real and imaginary part of C1 it can access directly. Okay, and I have passed the C2 as an argument, so it will there is a copy of C2 here. Okay, so how I will add it? The real part directly it can access. Okay, here it is the C1's real only. Okay, and here it will be C. Okay, C dot real means what? The C2's real value, and img is in the same thing only. Okay, C1's img, and C dot img means what? The C2's img. Okay, and we have done the same as before. Okay, and I have returned this complex number back. Okay, so what will happen here? It will do the addition and it will create what? Another number. Okay, let us see what will be the output. The sum will be equal to what? 4 plus 2, 6 plus I 7. Okay, 6 plus I 7. If it is displaying the sum, what it will display? It will display the 6 plus I 7. Okay, so now let us do the minus of a complex number. Okay, I want the minus of this C1. Okay, I want the minus of the C1. So I am calling the function like C1 dot nicom. Means what? I am calling the function which is present inside the C1. Okay, which is inside the C1, and I want to get the minus of this C1. Okay, so what is happening here? The nicom is a function and it is directly and without any argument it is called. Okay, and what happening here? Mi is equal to mi dot real is equal to minus 1 into real. Real it can directly access, no, because C1's function is this nicom, so it can access the real, and C1's img is this thing. Okay, it can directly access without any object. It can access this img also, and what will get? The negative of that C1. So what will get here? After this we will get a mi which is of minus of C1 minus of C2, sorry, minus of C1 as the result. So what is the minus of C1? Minus 2 plus I minus 3. Okay, so this minus 2 minus 3. Okay, so only change here we can see here is if you are using a member function. Okay, if you are using a member function, we can directly access the initial one. Okay, initial means C1's what we are calling what? C1 dot add C2. So what we are doing is we are calling this function which is present inside the C1, and we are passing the argument as C2. Okay, so directly we can access this real and imaginary. Here also we can directly access the real and imaginary, and you can see if I am using an add which is a inside function or it's a member function, then we are accepting only one complex object as an argument. Okay, this first one will be by default. Okay, And if we are doing the minus of the same object only, c1 dot mecom, I want the minus of the c1 only. Okay, and this inside this c1's c1's member function only, it is this mecom. So it can directly access this real and img. Okay, so it will directly use this and it will execute this. So I hope you understood what I am going to say. Okay, I am going to say that if I am changing this and this into this operator overloading function, how I am creating the operator function? Using operator plus, okay, this is the addition, and here this one I am changing it into operator minus. Okay, so if I am changing this, how I will call this function? This will be converted into what? c1 plus c2, and this also will be converted into what? Minus c1. Okay, I hope you understood the concept clearly. So whenever we are using like this, okay, this add function I have changed into operator plus. Okay, whenever I am doing like this plus operator is overloaded. Okay, and it will accept this. This is converted into what? Let's see here. Okay, let's say c1 plus c2. This is called just like c1 dot operator plus in bracket c2. Okay, it is converted into this thing only. Okay, c1's operator plus, okay, c1 dot operator plus, and as an argument the c2 is passed. Okay, so this one, how it will be changed? c1 dot operator minus. I hope you understood whatever I have said. Okay, if there is any doubt you can ask. Okay, so let's continue. So here is our operator overloading. As you can see here, this real and img is passed as a by default. Okay, this ob1 is passed as a argument implicitly, and this one is passed as a argument. Okay, and what are the different restrictions of this operator overloading? Okay, what are the different rules of defining the operator overloading? First one is you cannot alter the precedence of an operator. Okay, whenever we are overloading an operator, we must not change the precedence of an operator. Okay, precedence we have already discussed. Okay, what is the priority of an operator cannot be changed. Okay, and the next thing is number of operands that operator takes. Okay, it cannot change the number of operands that operator takes. So if it is a binary plus, it must take how many arguments? 2 arguments. If it is a unary plus or unary minus, it must take how many arguments? 1 argument. Okay, and operator function cannot have default arguments. So it cannot we cannot give an argument which is having any default value. Okay, and this following operators cannot be overloaded. These all things cannot be overloaded. Dot operator, the scope resolution operator, this thing we will discuss later, and the ternary operator question mark colon. This is the only ternary operator. So we will not be accepting any other unary and binary operator only. We will be overloading. Okay, and this size of operator cannot be overloaded. Okay. This is because we are getting the if we are overloading this dot and all, this will be changing the meaning as well. That's why we cannot overload this operators. Okay. So why we are not using it? this is for safety. If you overload the dot operator, then we can't access the member in a normal way. If you are overloading dot operator, then we cannot access any member of that class in a normal way. Okay, and this question mark colon, there is a small mistake. It is ternary operator that is accepting 3 arguments rather than 2 or 1, and there is no mechanism available by which we can pass the 3 parameter during an operator overloading. During operator overloading, there is no mechanism available to accept 3 parameters. Okay, so here C is equal to A plus B, and both A, B are actually referring to some of the memory location. So this plus operator can be overloaded. But the dot operator, A dot I, actually refers to the name of the variable from whom the memory location has to be reserved at the time. Okay, at the run time only the dot operator will access it. Okay, so we cannot overload the dot operator. So this is how we have already discussed how we are overloading, operator overloading using the friend functions. Okay, this is an example of overloading extraction operator. Okay, friend I string, this is the argument, this is the object we have to use. Okay, I stream ampersand operator greater than symbol, I stream ampersand and matrix ampersand. So here we are passing the argument as a matrix. Okay, here we are giving the object as a it is matrix only. Okay, so what we will do is I stream, this is an example of this thing. Okay, here actually I am creating an object of matrix type, and I am overloading this greater than symbol, 2 greater than symbol. Okay, so what I am doing, we are extracting from the Cin. Okay, standard input, I am extracting it, and I am going to input to this thing. Okay, this also having two operands. Sorry, okay, it is having 2 operands. This 2 greater than symbol extraction operation is having 2 operands. How many operands? 2 operands, and here we are implementing it using a friend function. Okay, so this is our I stream. Okay, input stream object. Okay, and I am passing it as what the reference. Okay, and this second one is our reference variable to the matrix. Okay, so what it will do is here this I stream, instead of Cin I have used as in only. Okay, so what we will do is in 2 greater than symbol m dot a of ij. Okay, this matrix m dot a of ij. Like that we can overload the extraction operator. Okay, let's say if it is a member function, what you have to do, we can remove this thing, we can only use this thing. Okay, so this is not possible as in the case. So what we have to do, we have to use this friend function for overloading to that's extraction operator. Okay, here is the insertion operator. Okay, insertion operator where we are using what, friend O stream. The previous case we have used what, in stream. Here we are using what, O stream. Okay, it's nothing but it is just printing it. Okay, m dot a of ij, we are printing it directly to the standard output. Okay, it is also accepting a out. Okay, O stream object out, that is our C out. Okay, and the matrix object as m, that is the m obj, it will be producing the output to the standard output. Okay, like this we can overload the insertion operator. So this is an example of how we can do overload the extraction and insertion operator. Okay, this is an example of this thing. Here you can see the this one, the operator, extraction operator is implemented it as a what extraction operator is implemented as a member function, and insertion operator is implemented it using a friend function. Okay, and here you have to see this extraction operator. I have mentioned it like M to greater than symbol C in, because it is accepting, it must accept the input stream only. Okay, and it is calling, this will be converted into what, M dot operator to greater than symbol instance C in. Okay, so like that the overloading can be done. So these are the main programs that they have asked and will be asking. Okay, so this is just the thing, just I have given the hints on how to implement this thing, to greater than symbol to less than symbol. Okay, addition of two matrices using the overloading the plus operator. And next program is create the rational. Okay, and it must have a numerator and denominator, which must be the attributes or properties. And if we are doing like this, R1 into R2, it must produce the output. Okay, that is numerator into numerator and denominator into denominator we have to get. Okay, so we have to do what, we have to overload the multiplication, the asterisk operation, and we have to overload the double equals operator also for checking the equality of R1 and R2. Okay, so let's hope you have understood the properties, the whole thing correctly. It will be asked for sure. If you have any doubt, clarification needed, please message me.